Welcome, welcome. Happy early Halloween.
Yeah, that's scary.
It was scary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
some scary facts there.
Yeah, I was going to say not only the music, but the facts.
Yeah, spooky statistics.
Yeah, I just thought, why not throw what's more scarier than banking statistics? I always say. But no, actually, I was messing around with Microsoft Copilot. I was being encouraged by my CIO at my work, and like, have you been using AI? And I was like, all right, let me try it out. And so I got all those stats from Copilot a few weeks ago, and it was just sort of interesting. Once you start seeing like the ownership of this, there's like this cascading effect, and you sort of see a pattern there. But yeah, I know I often talk about the concentration of media ownership and distribution, and we're talking literally, as anyone who lives in Canada knows, not only like the internet service providers, telecommunications, cell phone, broadcast television, broadcast radio, and the content creators too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, holy smokes. I think there was probably more diversity in media in the Soviet Union, to be honest. Kind of interesting that we have a so-called free market, but it's a somewhat of an incestuous free market when you really start to look at it. And the other thing that kind of struck me, and there's nothing necessarily wrong, I just want to throw out that it's very neutral. Like, I understand the situation. Bell just happens to be a big player. You know what I mean? I do work with Bell. So, but at the end of the day, the facts are the facts. And what's interesting is the ownership. When you look at the majority ownership, or not majority, but the largest shareholder, you're talking 5%, roughly. You know what I mean? So it's not like someone or some entity owns 90% of Royal Bank, for example. No, it's like 5% here, 5% there. Royal Bank owns, I think they're the top shareholder of TD Bank. So the top shareholder in TD is Royal. and all of us probably working in Canada, you have mutual funds. So we probably all have shares in all these companies. A lot of times you don't even know it, right? In my case, I actually do have shares in Rogers, for example, and a few other companies, and Royal Bank. But anyway, just thought, throw some numbers, some context. So, food for thought. I honestly think that more could be done, to be honest, that these companies could do more to do many things, but I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get off on a big
Lenny,
speech about that.
I'm wondering if you extended your search into streaming, for example, how much of all streaming is happening over Spotify versus Amazon Music versus, just be kind of curious
Good,
to know.
good,
And
yeah.
even there, I suspect you're going to find that there's a great deal of concentration in the very tippy top, and then
Well, social media.
a lot of other small players, so that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, you know what? I'll do some research into that. I was just going to say social media, just off the top of my head. This is not Copilot or Chat GPT, but I believe Mark Zuckerberg, through Facebook, Meta, Instagram, owns 50%, 50, of the social media platforms. I mean, that's massive. And it's weird that you hear a lot of talk about Elon Musk, who he's got 5% Twitter, right? It represents 5%. You don't hear a lot of people freaking out about Zuckerberg, though. It's weird. 50%. And I mean, that guy,
Twitter's
honestly,
dead.
I want a DNA test. I want proof that he's human because I got my suspicions, man.
Have you seen his latest hairdo?
Yeah, I have. He's looking a bit tougher. I'll give him credit.
He practices martial arts though. I don't know if you guys know. He's black belt, I think, jiu-jitsu, I think, or something.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
good for him. Good for him. I guess that reptilian DNA helps me.
I think he's a blue belt, maybe. He's got a ways to go, but he's been doing it for a few years now. So
he'll probably not. He'll not progress past blue belt because that's the color of Facebook. So
right, that's true.
it would be against the brand.
But but that's a good point, Richard. I'll look into some streaming and whatnot. Could be good to see some statistics.
Like personally, I don't use Spotify because like 97% of whatever royalties they choose to pay out on streams, whatever their formula may be, goes to like 3% of the artist, So if you're an independent artist, you want to be on the main platform because in theory you get the maximum distribution, right? Potential people can hear your music, and yet the chances of it ever being, being able to benefit from it financially are pretty much zero, So
yeah.
I've heard that criticism. I'm neutral on the whole Spotify thing, but I can certainly appreciate that opinion. I'll just say that I made 4 cents with Spotify, man. So,
That's about as much as I've made in like 20 years on TuneCore.
No, listen, to be honest with you, I just released an album, as a matter of fact, that just coincidentally will be going on to whatchamacallit, Spotify.
Of course.
Oh, we're giving a copy.
Yeah. I got a little preview here, actually.
Awesome.
It's they're trying to get me to pay for some extra like service or something, but it still shows the preview. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, they need to buy. The owner needs to buy a new boat. So there you go.
So there we go. Here's the.
There we go. Cool. Film noir.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
You got it, man. So I'll be playing one of these tunes tonight. But yeah,
cool.
Be sure to check that out. Pretty excited about it. It's already out on Bandcamp, but it's now it's out there. And but yeah, the other thing I wanted to announce, by the way, we have a couple of live events happening. As a matter of fact, seems like soon as the Halloween season hits, it's like from Halloween to New Year's Eve, it's like party time. So this Saturday, and as a matter of fact, this one I'll put up on the actual OBS here. anyone who had been there, you might have noticed how good the production quality was. Like the lighting was really good and professional. That's because Marco is like a total perfectionist, a total pro. He works in the industry. He does lighting and sound for festivals. He's a actual commercial airline pilot by day job. So, he has a very, he's just a pleasure to work with someone that is that with it, basically. So I can just assure you that, all aspects. I mean, even if look at the flyer, just extremely, detailed flyer. I can't say enough good things about him. So it's good to have him involved. So I'm going to be involved the week after, November 2nd. It's in the Yonge and Finch area. It's a Japanese restaurant and sake bar. So it's a small spot, 75 to 100 people. But the sound is going to be big and the lighting is going to be professional. And
what's the restaurant there, Lenny?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. I should have had this
Good.
prepared. Yeah, shoot. Let me just quickly look it up. It was in the flyer there, but
and where's the flyer? Sorry.
I had it on the OBS there, but I'll share it in the chat here in a second if I can figure it out. I'll start with the restaurant actually. So it's called Menami, Menami, and it's 5469 Yonge Street, North York, right near, like I say, the Finch subway station. So I'll just put that in the chat here. I think my cat is seeing a cat outside. He's like meowing crazy here. So yeah, it's the first time that we're doing an event there. Marco actually reached out to me about it, and it just seems like a really cool spot.
Sorry, what's the date on that one? It's
October 26th
Saturday?
And November 2nd.
Okay.
So
thank you.
October 26th, techno. November 2nd will be synthwave and DMB. So for November 2nd, it will be Neon Fox, who is a synthwave DJ here in Toronto. He's very active in the synthwave scene. He's on the Night Ride FM radio station a lot. His I tune into the Karen show on Night Ride FM, and he's always with her as well, from what I can tell. So I think Karen has come from Seattle to here. So there's a whole healthy synthwave community that I just think synthwave would be a really good fit for this particular location. And so I reached out to Neon, and he's into it. So I'm really excited to have him and Thomas, who will be here later on in about half an hour or 10 minutes actually. He's going to be doing a hardware set. So he's going to do some electronica. And my girl Tuesday, she's a drum and bass DJ, and myself doing drum and bass as well. So we're going to have a hardware set, synthwave DJ set, and then 2 drum and bass DJ sets. So that's November 2nd. And like I said, October 26th is going to be all techno, and these are like real heavy hitters. The kind of techno that Peter would be really into. Let me put it to you that way. So for you guys that know Peter from the other Peter, you probably too, Mansfield, but there's Peter Wolf. I meant.
I think he was doing this. No.
Yeah.
Anywho, so that's the announcement for that. And if things go well, we'll be back there. Baseline is closed, by the way. So Baseline was our favorite music bar here in Toronto that we've had a lot of good times there. And, it's come to an end. So it's nice now. I feel like this is kind of like a good comparable size venue. It's actually a little bit smaller than Baseline.
Did Baseline go out of business? Is that?
Yeah, it's shut down. Yeah, it ran its course. I Craig was a really good guy. He is still a good guy. He's still around, but I mean, he did a lot for the scene here in Toronto. I personally have always told him personally every time I saw Craig, I said, Craig, you've done more for electronic music in this city than probably anybody else, in my humble opinion. I mean, I have a very subjective perspective because, I played there a lot, but that's the thing. He had open decks. Anyone who wanted, on a Monday, you could go there, sign up, DJ. A lot of big names have gone through Baseline, so, and there's not a lot of venues like that in Toronto, just to be honest. I mean, I'm not an expert about everything. There's a lot of after hours clubs. There's a lot of great stuff happening. There's a lot of warehouse scene stuff going on in oh God, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here, but Keele and Dundas area there. And so there's a lot of things happening in the city, but Baseline, was really one of my favorites. So anyway, so welcome to Toronto Electronic Music Producers Online Meetup. Before the COVID pandemic, we used to meet in person every month. And, ever since that, we've gone online. And so we're pretty much, I think, at this point, going to stay online. I think really the in-person events will likely just be kind of like this stuff here. We'll do like live performances. So if people want to hang out, it's a good opportunity to meet other members and hear other music and, get involved. But in terms of the meetup, since we have, a lot of people out of town, it's frankly just more convenient, to be honest with you. There's a lot of wear and tear with moving equipment around and stuff. So if I am going to be moving equipment around and whatnot, I'd rather do it for a live performance than a meetup format, just to throw it out there. So at least that's what the thinking is right now. And but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel in a few minutes. But yeah, our format, as most of you here, all of you know, but just in case anyone else is watching for the first time, we basically have producers submit their music. We put the music into a random name picker. We spin the wheel, and then whoever's name comes up, we play their tune. And we go around the table, around the circle, talking about it. So there's a lot of talking. The other thing I'll say is we never meant for this to be a live stream or a podcast that other people would necessarily be interested in, but we're more than happy to share. You know what I mean? If other people can gain some information or usefulness or entertainment, by all means, it's all good. But we're really here like a kind of like an internal discussion. And, like I say, it's whatever music people submit, that's what we play. It's not like we're curating this list. You know what I mean? Obviously, most of our members here are talented, so we typically have really good music, but and we've been blessed over the years. I mean, I think we're running now 9 years, maybe. I lost count, but I mean, it's quite something to think about all the great music we've heard, and it just keeps going, right? And I feel like the quality improves every time. And I've heard actually all our members, not all, but many of our members, basically to see their progression. You know what I mean? Even myself, I feel like I've learned a lot basically from this group. So I always appreciate the good discussion as well. So without any further ado, let me go ahead.
I remember that one. I remember when you used to carry around the 8-track, the 4-track. At Gloucester, we used to be in person.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. You still have that, or
the 4-track? Unfortunately, got into an accident. I have to say, yeah. And I had another recorder, a small recorder. It was similar to like those little Zoom recorders, but it was actually not Zoom, but a similar one. I lost that as well, but I'm gonna get a new one for the upcoming event because I want to record it, Bobby. I'm glad that you mentioned that. But yeah, Gloucester was where we were. It was the party room in the condo I was living at in the Yonge and Bloor, Yonge and Wellesley area. And the good thing about that, just to reminisce a little bit, is that we had big speakers. Eventually,
Andrew.
Andrew, yes, thank you.
Yes. Mhm.
He
Yeah, the guy
would.
his son.
He had those big Serwin Vega,
Sherwin Vegas, yeah,
like man,
with the
that
sub, yeah.
right, and then that was actually really nice because we had no real close like neighbors that cared about sound being loud,
Yeah, it
so
was
we
a
could turn it.
detached building.
We
Yeah.
could turn it up, and you get a chance, you know, especially as a bedroom producer or whatever, like
Mhm.
hearing your music like in a big room with big speakers, and it was
Yeah.
just it was actually worth. I would say that's the one thing that I really miss from that.
Yeah.
However,
me too.
like I just said, if you know, if you spin the music at a live performance, you know, you'll hear it as well in that kind of way. But just to say that, yeah, it was really, you know, it was a good time.
Mhm.
And so I'll go ahead and spin the wheel here. If I
Yeah, a
can
lot of
figure
wear and
out.
tear on Andrew and his car, though.
A
Carrying
lot of
those
wear
things
and
around.
tear for sure, for sure. And I think after COVID hit, it just, you know, it reset the whole world. And
Yeah.
we're kind of just, you know, anyway, we're doing what we can, and this format seems to work, so we're sticking with it. All right, Andrew. So you're the first contestant.
Oh, just letting you guys, I don't have any music with me tonight. Maybe next time, but not right now. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, Bobby.
Well,
Yeah,
we can,
watch.
I
if
can
we
take
get
your
your
name
name,
out of
we'll
there. Yeah,
take it off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
All right, guys.
I don't know if I can stop sharing here. Are you seeing the screen? Yeah, you are. Eh?
Yeah, I am.
I don't know why. A little bit under the weather. That's my excuse.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
There
there we
you
go.
go.
So, Andrew, anything you want to say?
Yeah. I just want to say hello. Hope everyone's doing well, and happy Halloween. I guess that's next week. So in lieu of Halloween coming up, I did a Halloween drum and bass track. It was just something I put together relatively quickly, and it doesn't have enough bass to be like really good drum and bass, but you know, it's just something along a theme that I wanted to go with, and
Extend that out and have some other elements in there, but yeah, it's a great beginning for a track. I mean, you said you put it together pretty quick, so yeah, maybe just keep revisiting it and tweaking it a bit.
Absolutely. I mean, you can hear what would be the bass, I think, and if you added a real deep growl to that, it would really pop through.
Okay.
Well, I thought it came to life when you brought out the monsters there, but I just that really got my attention. I had to look over my shoulders. That was good. That it really started to all come together at that point in time. But I like it. It's good.
Great.
Yeah, don't look now, Jeff, but you've got like Aurora Borealis behind you.
Yeah.
I'm going off into the neon.
I thought it was really good, Andrew. I thought the intro really gets your interest. The drop was good. Definitely could add some elements to it, but it's definitely a good. It's a good tune.
Yeah. It's just I really don't do D&B that much, but I'd like to explore that a little bit more. But it just seemed to fit the idea and process that was in my head at the time, and that's the product. So thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and I hope there's more Halloween inspired music today.
Yeah, man. For me, every day is Halloween for me, to be honest.
Yeah, one comment was the sub bass was good, but then when you brought in kind of the synth, kind of grittier bass towards the middle of the track, I thought you could maybe just make that more prominent. That was a really good sound that mixed in with the drum and bass style.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Good job. Yeah, good
Thanks.
job.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Go ahead and share my screen again. So, Bobby, you're saying you don't have music to share, so I'll just. And Thomas should be joining soon. If his name comes up, we'll just spin again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jeff.
So I wasn't sure if we had one song or two songs. What are we at?
It's normally one, but we can make an exception if you're planning to send two. To be honest.
Well, I did send you two because I think last time I sent one and then you asked me for another one, so I had to scramble to send it afterwards.
Right.
So have you got them there?
Yeah, I do. I got them both.
Okay, and they're not long songs, so I don't know. The one, the flickering light is pretty, they're both pretty straight ahead songs, I guess. One, but the other one is more Halloween oriented. But I sort of wanted feedback on the first one, the flickering light, and then I think the second one is Hallowed Be the Eve. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll play the first one, and
maybe you can do both of them and see what. Okay.
All right. Let's give it a listen.
All right.
Cool. I love the bass line. I mean, just like throughout the whole track, it just kind of kept the song moving. Um, I was hearing a little bit of like resonance on that whistle sound that was kind of a little bit piercing here and there. Um, so maybe try to tame that somehow. I mean, there are plugins that will do that, like Soothe. I think there's one by another company that's a little cheaper, but yeah, it was a little bit of frequency kind of harshness there. So just
Yeah.
watch it
Oh,
on the
thank
track.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot here. Like tonight. Also, I found that like for me the reception was staggered, so I lost the connection a couple times. But
Oh, really? Oh.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that because I need to rein that in. I thank you for pointing that out. So
hmm
yeah.
Yeah, I had a
I,
trouble with that on one of my songs where I had a vocalist like a contact vocal thing that I was doing, and somebody commented, "Yeah, it's great, but that there's resonance in there that's really kind of like piercing." So yeah, it's tricky to kind of rein in, but yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
happens.
actually tried using the EQ twice, right? So I put it
Yeah,
brought it, and then I used it a second time,
yeah.
and yet it's
Sometimes that's
still
not enough though.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
evidently, because I could hear it too. It didn't sound as rich as I would like it to sound, right?
I'm gonna throw the YouTube link just in case you're watching on Twitch. You might want to try YouTube. I sometimes go back and forth between Twitch stream and the YouTube.
Yeah, maybe I'll try
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. And
Mhm.
always
Yeah.
like recycling or refreshing your browser. But
Yeah.
just to
Yeah,
tag on to what Philip said there with the EQing. Yeah, and sometimes by EQing, this has happened to me where I have a sample, for example, and I
hmm
have this nice sound, but it's like harsh, right?
hmm
And then I go to EQ the harshness away, but then I lose a lot of
Lose the
what I liked
soul.
about it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
exactly.
it's a constant struggle, frankly.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
sometimes it's easier
look
to
at
fix.
look at that plugin Soothe. I mean, it does amazing stuff. It's
Too.
pricey though. So, I mean, it's like 100 and some bucks for this plugin, but just I would say look at it and see what it does, and it may inform you. There's I think Baby Audio, I think is the other company that makes kind of a similar thing. Some people say it's not as good, but some people live and die by Soothe. I have never bought it, but I'm like tempted every time it comes on sale, which is rare. Maybe Black Friday, it'll go on sale, but I might reach out and get it that that time. It's
I,
been on
I,
my hit list for a while.
I find with stuff like that, if you use a decent amount of tape saturation or tube saturation,
Mhm, mhm.
it really takes the edge off of
That's
things,
true. Yeah.
and then EQ it from there. Um,
hmm
okay.
Is this it, by the way? I'm just sharing it here now.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it dynamically removes harshness. It's really, really kind of surgical. So you can really, I mean, I've seen people that have used it. I mean, you can see it's $300 Canadian, right? So
Ouch.
it's not cheap, but it does go on sale every once in a while. And if it ever does, and you're like, if it's been on your hit list for a while, like on mine, I'm like, yeah, okay, next time it goes on sale, I'm gonna freaking buy it because it's worth it.
Well, this
It's a
kind of
one-trick pony though, but
oh, it is, eh? So
yeah.
this on that song, I was wrestling with that piece because that was even
Mhm.
going into tonight. That was a piece that I was wrestling with. The other part was is that I play my guitar on that so that the
Mhm.
chords and I'm also trying to dial out like I always have an issue with my guitar because it comes across as so wide across all of the frequencies, and
Yeah.
so but since that didn't get mentioned, I think I managed to dial back some of the saturation on my guitar, right? So
I mean,
Yeah,
I wanted to
I
mention, I thought the guitar
yeah.
really stood out. I thought that was
Mhm.
the diamond in that entire song. Like it
oh,
sounded
thank you, Peter.
fantastic. I was going to
Oh,
ask you. I mean, it sounded obvious that it was a live instrument, and now that you tell me, I'm not surprised. It was great. It sounded fantastic, but I could see that it would take up a lot. I don't know. I mean, in FL Studio, there's a patcher preset that does a lot of what Suze does. It's in the Julian subfolder, but you can sidechain one instrument to another, and it'll dynamically duck based on which instrument you would choose as to be the best. So, I mean, I think there's more options than Soothe to do it, but I mean, I haven't paid. I'm sure Soothe is the best, but there's a lot of options to do dynamic EQing based on another one. So if you're finding your guitar and that sound is uh, clashing with each other or creating a resonance, you can dial it down with a number of plugins. I mean, I think Pro Q can do that as well, where you're sidechaining a dynamic plugin or a dynamic EQ with it. So, yeah, and I didn't know, honestly, what I heard, it sounded beautiful, and I heard the guitar. I didn't listen for resonance, and yeah, so the guitar was beautiful. Like, I looked out right off of that.
Yeah, it was very very hypnotic. And I like it was very colorful too.
Yeah, the bass was very organic is the word I'll use. It was kind of like rolling or mellow, but it was very nice. Nice.
Hello.
I put in the chat the Baby Audio version. It's called Smooth Operator. So they're trying to play off of Soothe and make it smooth.
Oh yeah.
I've heard it's not as good, but it's a little cheaper.
Okay, Smooth Operator.
99 US. But it may be cheaper on Black Friday. So yeah, there's a couple of ways to skin the cat on that one.
But if I have the names of certain plugins and so on, I can go out and I can look for all sorts of various alternatives and start working at it. But it's something that I do find that I need. So because it's not just this song. I've had others that I've also felt that it was a little shrill.
Anyway, I mean,
that being said, quickly, you know, there's a couple songs I've been listening to where things have been the vocals. They had a really shrill reverb on it that I've listened to, and it really pierces. But I mean, I quite enjoy it. So you know, it might be something that you would work with to like. It's interesting. It's clearly sonically problematic, but in the context of the song, it works quite well, and it pierces through the mix and it really gets your attention. I'm pretty sure it's clipping. I mean, the thing's on Spotify, but I like it. So if you can't squash it, maybe you could try to find a way to work the other instruments around it so that it's a welcome shrillness that kind of cuts through. So another approach.
It's an interesting approach, but
thank you, Phil.
Hey, that's okay. Well, let's go ahead and hear the other track that your Halloween track, I think.
Yeah, this is the Halloween track. So this has got a really heavy bass, but it's got more violins and things in it. So, but it's very scary. So hold yourself, you know, get hold of us.
All right, get prepared. All right, let's get on this.
classic Halloween chord progression. That's it's like it. Yeah, I want to ask what it is because yeah, it's exactly what Halloween is. That three. What key is that in?
Gosh, I can't remember at this point in time. Yeah,
No pressure.
I don't remember at this point.
Just say A minor.
Yeah. No, I set up my chords and I look at my key at one time for reference, and then I don't really keep it as marked in my head too much. Yeah. Sorry.
No, fair enough. I mean, don't ask me the key of anything in mine either. So you're right. I put you on the spot.
That's
Well, it's a fair
okay.
question. Fair question. But
It is.
yeah.
I should make a note for myself but I tend to forget, and I often seem to work on like several pieces at the same time, and so that's another reason I don't remember.
But that was a
I
good
can
track.
understand.
I mean,
Yeah.
even though it's a Halloween track, that could be like, just a straight out track. I mean, nothing wrong with it, man. Expand the drums there. I saw the comment there by Phil. I agree. Like it could.
So, Phil, you were saying with the bass, was the bass, it was okay? You said it's the only
Yeah, the
one.
bass is nice in the middle. You had
Okay.
some elements that were really wide, and then your melody was kind of like very centric. I mean, I almost felt like there was something missing in between the very wide and the very narrow. And I thought, well, maybe add a little reverb so that you get a little bit of splash into that middle area with the melody. But I don't know. It was just kind of like an idea.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
I,
So
I couldn't I couldn't kind of put my finger on it, but yeah, it just seemed, at least listening through headphones, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
subjective, but I felt like your bass and
Hey,
and
Lucy, man.
melody was there and
Lucy,
it was
man.
very prominent, but there was
Careful.
something kind of missing in between the very wide elements and the very centric elements, if you will.
so you're
So
saying
something,
maybe take the woodwind and put a
yeah, the
little bit
woodwind
more.
melody, add a little bit of reverbs or delay or
Mhm.
something, so it kind of like moves in
Okay,
that middle space
cool.
somehow.
Yeah, I like
Um,
it. Thank you. Yes, that's and indeed that's it's this kind of feedback that gets me thinking of how I go back and make a couple adjustments to this song, but also when I'm moving forward because uh, yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's
you're using the stereo field. It's just there. When I listen to it, I'm like, there's something that bothers me, and I can't quite put my finger
mhm.
on it. And I'm like, maybe that's it, but I just I don't know. Maybe give it a try, and
Sure.
just to kind of fill it out a little bit. Um,
I think
um,
if the bass was again because of over Twitch, it's like I almost want all of us to get 5 minutes to listen to our own tracks before we start because it certainly
Hmm.
sounds different over Twitch, and I can
Yes,
kind of
I
get
agree.
oh yeah,
you know. But I think like the bass could be filled out more, and I agree. There's a sort of with what Philip is talking about. There's wide elements and there's middle elements, but there's not they don't intermingle that much. So I would take this the kind of the mono elements, widen them out a bit, take the side elements and bring them in a little bit. Um, if I were to be critical about it, yeah, but I
Yeah,
think, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. There's no pad in there really it's all instruments rather than pads. So I think that's maybe in some sense what you may be getting to with the reverb on the woodwind or doing something like that is yeah.
yeah. And then talking about chords too, I came across this great video by Crow Hill Company who makes standalone VST instruments, orchestral stuff, but they had this really great kind of exploration of modes on chords. And so I put it in the chat. I would encourage
Thank you.
everybody to kind of look at it. And they talk about like everything from the C chord, D, E, all the way up, and how just using the white keys, how those different modes can change like the feel of the sound, the music. You know, is it sad? Well, that's because it's in A. Is it dystonal or off somehow? Anyway, it's kind of bringing that chord change up, the Halloween chord change up. I don't know if it applies here, but I thought it was kind of interesting topic to watch because they go through like every one of the white key chords and how they um, affect like kind of the mood.
Right.
And then the one at the end just doesn't work at all. It's weird. So anyway, take a listen to it.
I've been saying for a while that a lot of music that's released is in minor key. I would say almost 80%, and there's a lot of tunes that I like are in major key personally. So I've just noticed that I really it's more triumphant. It's more kind of like full, but there is a kind of this is a long spoken about topic through centuries, literally, that different composers have talked about, different keys and different moods. So if this is a subject that interests you, there's like all kinds of information out there.
Yeah, and they even have. I'm gonna give a link to their. They have these blag sheets, is what they're called. I would encourage you to take a look at these. They're developing these, but the modes one is kind of cool. It talks about like okay, uh, the D mode does everything. This G mode is good for romantic. A is always sad. B is broken. F is forever Hollywood. So you can write tracks in those modes, and that'll give you the kind of the mood you're looking for. Anyway, it's
Yeah,
the modes one.
that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. I remember coming across a site one day where they actually took keys and they put about 10, 15 songs that were in each of those keys to emphasize and give you examples
Yeah.
of that. And I found it quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
So
definitely.
anyway,
And
check it out.
DJ software today really
I
makes
will check
DJs,
that out.
Life easier.
mixing in key. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people will just do a
It'll
mix
analyze
and
it.
everything will be in a key, for example,
Hmm.
or complementary keys. So, but it's really cool. It's very interesting. And I think C, someone was telling me once, the note C actually, there's like this magic frequency or something. And
Oh yeah. Well, the 440 frequency versus like people tend to have like the 440 frequency and then they have this alternate tuning where they shift everything slightly and it changes the whole, at least to some people, it changes kind of like the mood or the intonation. It's like there's natural frequencies out there and then if you change those around, it's gonna affect that.
yeah.
A little flat, smooth, a little sharp. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel. Thank you again, Jeff, for sharing.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate your feedback.
Okay. Richard.
Yeah.
You've been quiet tonight. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel. It's on mute. Are you there, Richard?
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
I'm here, but I didn't submit anything, Lenny.
Oh, you didn't.
No.
Oh, okay. So
He's
you don't want to submit anything?
he's in my band, Fill in the Blanks. He didn't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, Richard. Well, I hope you're doing well with that project and also with the weather over there in Northern Carolina. I know that you had that hurricane, so hopefully you and your family's doing okay.
Yeah, the weather was quite serious, but I've been in Mexico, so
Oh,
hasn't
really?
it?
That's a one. That's a good way to
¿Dónde está
bypass
Casa
it.
de Pepe?
Hablando español, drinking mezcal up till day
There
before
you go.
yesterday. But glad to be back. Didn't want to sit around and watch TV or waste my time, so I thought I'd hang out with you guys and listen to some music tonight.
Wow, from
So,
Mexico.
There you
Nice. I think this is the first
Welcome.
time we've had someone from Mexico, so we've really we're international. We already were international. We're now even more international. If that makes any
Mhm.
sense. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna spin a tune off my new album, and yeah, we'll give it a listen, I guess, and talk about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Very appropriately Halloweenish and mean and aggressive.
That was good. That was very good.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I was telling you, for me, every day is Halloween. So, doom and gloom and destruction is basically the vibe. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that track.
Yeah, it was very like jump up.
Speaking of the effects there, I was telling Marco the other day, one of my little go-to is to use DJ effects. So when you're on a DJ mixer, they have very specific like loop roll and effects that work in real time. And and there's only so many effects you can have on a DJ setup, so it's always usually ones that are very, very lend themselves well to a performance. And so I've been using that. So for like the kind of variations there that sound kind of like odd, I would just kind of do some loop rolls and stuff and then edit it back in to my DAW. So it's a cool little technique, frankly. Sometimes I feel with the DAW, there's just so many effects that you can do, and you could probably achieve the same thing, right? But like I say, with the DJ effects, it's right there, it's immediate, and it keeps it on time, which is nice, with the.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think about that, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you've really grown as an artist, eh? That's way good. That's like day from, yeah.
Well, I've been trying to
remember
say,
the
listening
days
to
back when we listened to on those little speakers back in back in the common room. I'm like, yeah, Lenny's going somewhere, and then all of a sudden he's like, look at him now. Yeah, he's done something.
The reality is DJing does help. Honestly, I know I've said it before. It's given me an ear for what is actually, considered a tune, right? That's within the genre. And again, I'm not a genre guy all the time, but for drum and bass, it's nice to know where things are, right? You can choose to break the rules, but at least know what you're doing. And to be honest with you, I always felt like my music was lacking the bass part, frankly, a lot. You know what I mean? There was a lot of the drums and arrangement that I prefer, but then I would hear the tunes on the system, and I realized, like, obviously, drum and bass, but it's like a parallel kind of. It's expected, frankly, So, and actually, another thing I've been doing is layering. So, like the intro part and the breakdown, I layered the so it's fuller, because it's one thing there's a lot of other tracks on the album, frankly, that are not as full. So when it goes to like the break part, you can even see the waveform like shrinks down. It's very quiet, and then it goes up again, right? But I like the idea now. I'm trying to push that part as well, so that it's because you have all that space. Why waste it? That's the way I look at it, right? You have all
I
that.
agree with you, and your bass was not lacking in that. That was completely led by bass. The drums were right there. I mean, you expect that snare hit, and that's something where you can kind of, I think, muddle through as long as you have that clean snare hit where you expect it in drum and bass. But if you don't have an interesting bass line, it's very stale very quickly, and that bass was fantastic. Really, it was a lot of fun and energetic and dynamic. I mean, it changed enough, and yeah,
if you guys, sorry. If you guys are interested, check out beatport.com. They have a lot of brand new drum bass music there if you want.
Oh, that's Phil. Okay, I just muted him. Yeah, no, Beatport is definitely the go-to for most DJs in general. I'm not going to say all DJs, but certainly a huge, a lot of drum and bass DJs I personally have known. That's what their go-to. It's a good place to get dance music. Period. I've only really more looked on the drum and bass and dubstep and that kind of thing, Rotterdam or whatever. But I'm sure other genres are good as well. And the other thing I was going to say, I lost my train of thought. Actually, sorry.
Well, I just appreciate the fact that everything's changes so much in your music, Lenny. There's just so many ideas. And I guess that is the DJ part, and the fact that you have to be quick on your feet and you're always moving and anticipating. it's always a real pleasure for me to hear that. It's just so unique for me, and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of pushed that. It's funny that you mentioned that. I was kind of thinking about that when I lost my train of thought there, is that it has a lot of the things that I would do as a DJ built into the track. You know what I mean? A lot of things I like doing with the DJ is like the A/B switch on the fader, so you're playing one beat and then you switch it up. And that's what I love about DJ sets, is being able to do all that stuff. And I try to explain to people that a lot of time I would make tunes that were extremely basic, but like once they're mixed in, they become way more complicated. Now I'm just thinking, you know what? I might as well just go for the final push here. And you know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe I'll make a different version for DJing purposes. I'm not sure, but we'll see how that works. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks for the feedback. And I'll be playing this in 2 weeks. So November 2nd, like I say, that'll definitely be one of the tunes that's going to be in the mix.
One thing I would change about the last track is that the beginning was very very radio. It was very it had a really sharp start. It'd be nice to grow, stretch it out a little bit.
Okay. I mean, it's already released, but I'll keep that in mind for the next one, Bobby. But it's a fair comment, and it's an odd intro, because it's not like perfectly I hate to say it, but a lot of times it's like 32 bars, 16 bars, 48 bars. This one's kind of off a little bit, so it's gonna keep the DJ on their toes, I would say. Like even me, I was trying to mix with it. I'm like, all right, I gotta find my spots on this one. But yeah, thank you, Bobby, and thanks everyone.
Can I just for a second? I was switching between the YouTube and the Twitch, as you were mentioning, and I got to say that the YouTube sound is way better on mine than the Twitch. The Twitch is really quite muffled.
Yeah, I've had better success, generally speaking, myself personally with YouTube. That's why I suggested it. But it's one of those things. That's why I am streaming on multiple platforms, for that exact reason. So that way, I may find a third. I was doing to Twitter, but now that's not free anymore. But I am going to find a third platform, even so that way, we'll be able to actually, A, B, and C test it and see what works.
Okay. I just found that the YouTube though has a much greater lag time.
Yeah, that's why you'll notice sometimes I'm late to the discussion. I'm like, okay, it's just because I'm listening on YouTube and it's like 20, 30 seconds behind. It's crazy. It's a really far behind. I know it throws me off, but it is what it is. We're kind of I don't know what to say. Time traveling. All right, Thomas, just on time. I was just telling everyone about the November 2nd event, but yeah. So you have a video for us that gonna share?
Yeah, that's right. You got the link.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is I'm still very much learning and exploring. So this was kind of one of my first attempts working with a sampler and kind of a sample. It is sample based, but with a couple of additional synths in there, and then all the samples that I use except the vocal bit are actually stuff that I captured from my own equipment. So it's not like I'm going to Splice and downloading a bunch of stuff. I sort of wanted to start by sampling all my other stuff that I have. So anyway, it's it's a live performance. The levels are not always perfect between the things, but it is what it is, and I had a lot of fun making it.
All right, let's give it a listen and a watch.
Dr. Wing asked, what further demotion, humiliation do I foresee for us? The idea that our sense of self-worth comes not from anything that we've done, but by an accident of birth is where the crux of humiliation is. I would say those of us worried about being demoted, those of us who wish for us to be important, should do something important. Should make an easily understandable, achievable, and inspiring goal for the human species, and then set out and do it. That would give us the confidence that we sorely lack by being dependent on our self-esteem being based on nothing we do. We want to have self-esteem. We want to have self-esteem. We want to have self-esteem. Let's make a planet in which nobody is starving. We want to have self-esteem. We want to have self-esteem. Let's make a planet in which men and women have equal access to power. We want to have self-esteem. Let us make a planet in which no ethnic group has it over another ethnic group. We want to have self-esteem. We want to have self-esteem. We want to have self-esteem. Let's have a planet in which science and engineering is used for the benefit of everybody on the planet. And my personal idiosyncrasy, let's have a world in which we go to the other world. I think I'll stop there.
Good job, man. I really appreciated like the text overlay as we're watching this to like describe what you're using, kind of the history of the vocals, and yeah, it was really a great kind of presentation all around.
Thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. Like there's so many kind of stereotypical things that are used in techno or other electronic things as vocal stuff, right? Like Blade Runner or other stuff that's like just so common. I was trying to find something different that maybe people hadn't heard before, and I stumbled across this, and I was like, yeah, this could work.
Yeah, it kind of had orbital vibes to it, to me a little bit. Too.
Yeah,
reminds me of like early '90s underground rave music. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I used to listen to a lot of trip hop, which is a shame you can't really find good stuff, well, in my opinion, good stuff like that anymore. And they would use a lot of those vocals, politically charged, and it really brought me back to that. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, excellent. I just noticed there's 2 spy audios here. Okay, threw me off. But yeah, no, that really good presentation, very good composition. Like I always say, if you heard this without seeing the hardware, it would still work as a track. You know what I mean? But seeing it being composed in real time is like an extra, I don't know, layer, if you will. It makes it even more cool. Frankly.
And the Torias drum machine, I have that too. That's pretty good. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, I appreciate your social community commentary as you're going through the vocals. I find with lyrics that so many lyrics just have no meaning at all, and it often turns me off about lyrics. But I find that what you're doing it brings so many different levels to your music, and so thank you.
It's the temper bot.
Yeah, it's the fake bot. It's just a second Zoom session ultimately, but it sounds more high tech, But yeah, no, good stuff, Thomas, and yeah, man, look forward to hearing more. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Right, so we're gonna go spin the wheel.
Who's a betting man?
Not me. But
yeah, so this is This is a track I wrote fairly recently called Premonition. I think Jeff's heard it before, but I went back and revisited it. I did not like the ending. I felt like it was too repetitive at the ending, so the last I cut the last 2 bars and or two probably 8 bars, sorry, and put in a new sequence at the end to kind of wrap it up. But anyway, I used one of my favorites, Omnisphere, for pretty much everything. A little bit of redrum, which is a drum uh,
I'll be right back.
machine inside of Reason. Anyway, hope you enjoy it.
All right, let's give it a listen.
Jeff said that I think the last time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it went away from that quickly. Like, there was, I thought about that initially, but then it really became its own thing. But I mean, all of its sounds are fantastic, but the piano sticks out. Very envious. Uh, you've done a fantastic job with that, with the whole thing. But the piano really stands out as. Uh, I'm not quite sure how you did it. It was great. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I came up with the chord progression, and I came across that piano patch on Omnisphere in one of my libraries, and like, yeah, that's gonna be the melody. And then I just kind of noodled around with it, and that was kind of one of the first things that came out when I was just playing along. I'm like, okay, record that, So that I got kind of lucky on that one.
I don't know
Don't
what the
tell us
original.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, I
I
really
don't know what the
like
original.
Oh, who's in there? Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead,
think
Tom.
Philip.
Yeah, so I really
Or-
like the bass and the rhythmic sound that you have going in there. It just with the lush, harmony with the piano with that rhythmic bass. It's just it really the two are just really great. Offsetting each other. I think that's where the real creativity comes in for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think I heard it the first time you shared this piece, but so I don't know what the original ending was, but I really liked the way you ended it. Now it was almost like like just feels sudden, but also not, right? Like it's sort of it's like there's all this kind of build up and it just kind of lets go and drifts off into the ether in a really beautiful way. So I really like the way you finished it.
Yeah, I'll share the original. I shared the edit, and then this is the original. So not much different. It just I felt like I repeated the last kind of 8 bars 4 times, and it just seemed like when I was listening to it in my car on my way to the movie theater and back and all that stuff, I was like, whenever I go to the movie theater, I'm like, okay, let's put this on. I'm like, yeah, it just needs to go through twice, and then it needs to do something else. So that's what I did tonight, was just change it to see. So I'm kind of curious. I put both of them in there on the link or on the chat. So the original is premonition-1 because I did delete it and update it, and then the other one is called edit. So
just a little, just in case you want, if you throw those same links in the YouTube, that people can actually click on them. You know what I mean? As opposed to seeing and have to retyping it. So just to throw it out there. But yeah, no, it's all totally up to you. But
I'm not on the YouTube though, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That track is amazing, man. I think it's incredible. Like from the beginning till the end. It's one of those tracks that starts off good, and you think, okay, this is pretty good. I'm already happy. Gets better, and then it gets better. You know what I mean? So it's like like just great job. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I swear by this plugin, Omnisphere. If you ever have a chance, I mean,
Omnisphere.
It's not the beat all end all, but there are so many good sound designers for Omnisphere. It's like I mean, there are some crap designers. There's some people that are just throwing nonsense out there, but there are some really good sound designers.
It's
for
a
that
Spectrasonics, Bill?
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's like $400, but if you ever spend that money on it, you won't be disappointed. And they're very good at like giving free updates and stuff. So yeah, oh yeah.
I appreciate you mentioning that because I've been creeping and lurking on this thing for 3 years.
Yeah.
So
when
Black Friday.
Yeah, it hardly ever goes on sale. And actually, if you go to JRR Music, they actually have it like for $20 less or $30 less. But Eric Pershing is like he's like the sound designer extraordinaire. He did like all of the Roland synth sounds of old, back when it was just hardware, no software, and he founded this company. They started out with a plugin called Atmosphere, which then became Omnisphere, and he's just a genius when it comes to sound design. So the library that ships with it is just amazing, and there's tons of samples within that you can just kind of like build your own patches from if you want to explore. But I mean, just there's so many good sound designers for that platform. It's high class software in my opinion. So when you get when you're stuck in Canada like I was with COVID going on, and the U.S. government sends you a stimulus check, frickin' buy Omnisphere. And that's what I did. I bought Omnisphere. I bought Keyscape. I bought Trillion. Much without my ex-wife's knowledge, but maybe that's why I'm not married anymore. But I've got the 3 boxes up here still, so it's like Trillion.
I mean,
great bass stuff. Most excellent piano library, which I did not use on this one, and then Omnisphere. Yeah, I mean they're just phenomenal pieces of software.
Well, they even give you a box. I haven't seen a software box in I don't know.
I mean,
10 years.
Check this out. Not only do they give you a box, but check out the software loader for it. It comes on this thing, which if you flip this around, it's a USB stick. It's a USB drive.
I used to have those.
Yeah.
Similar.
So it comes on a USB drive. So you install it initially like that, and it's like several gigabytes of course, but then each update you can just download the next update. And then the libraries, I mean, there are just some great developers out there for it. So
see, I wasted all my stimulus money on Crash Dinner, and it's obviously a waste.
Yeah.
And are they asking for the money back now, Peter? That's the other. You just say, listen, all I got is Craft Dinner. Here you go.
Well, yeah, for legal reasons, I can't answer that. But,
can't answer that. Okay. But I know a lot of people that suddenly, and people who like I would have thought deserved it, are like suddenly, the government, the CRA wants 17 grand. I'm like, what? Holy smokes, man! They think they just sent 42 million to the meat grinder, otherwise known as the Ukraine war. And I'm neutral. Like I like Ukrainian and Russian people. I'm part Slavic myself. It turns out I'm part Croatian. Who knew?
No.
But yeah, it's just sad to see so much destruction. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to pick a sensitive topic here, but it just seems like they got a lot of money for war, man. I tell you, it's one thing that
it's a waste.
I think maybe that's what we should do. We should start a war, and maybe they'll give us money. Like I want to.
I tended to see Canada giving out a fair bit of money and then coming back and trying to get it back. It's like the money is made very easy up front, and there's all sorts of rules. So people go, oh, well, I better take that, and then realize later that for some reason that they really weren't eligible.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I know someone who literally is like this below the poverty line, actually. So I'm like, okay, if this person doesn't deserve this stimulus money or whatever the hell it's called, COVID, who does? Like, I don't know. It's weird, man.
Yeah,
but
it's
anyway.
happened a few times.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to be kind of like not responsible with if they get like some money coming their way. Just don't be responsible. Just get the plugin.
Buy software.
Yeah, live your life. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, life's too short to not have Omnisphere in your palette.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that? I mean, do you basically get like free upgrades to a certain degree with that kind of stuff, or is it kind of just a version?
Yeah, it's been on 2.8 or 9 for a while. I think 3.0 is kind of on the horizon, but they don't. It's like Apple; you never know when they're going to release it. But if you buy 2.0, you can get all these upgrades for years. I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 years since they've been doing upgrades, and I haven't paid a cent. So
right on. Well, you're definitely making good.
I bought a lot. I bought a lot of libraries, but I mean, I'll give you an idea of like how many gigabytes of library I have just for that. Let's see, get info. So let's see, still calculating the size. It's not quite like Contact. Basically, the way Omnisphere works, it's basically one sample per layer, and you can have up to 8 layers, I think. Or no, 4 layers and then 8 instruments, like in one set. So you can build some pretty complex stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I'll throw the number of how many gigabytes of stuff I have in my Spectrasonics folder at some point. But yeah,
we should do a gamble on this. We should
the over under. What's the over under, man?
Yeah.
I'm saying terabyte, man. Over under. Just even exaggerating.
Well, I've just FYI, I've got 2 16 terabyte drives that I have mirrored, so that in case one of them fails, it doesn't take out my whole system. But a lot of that's Contact libraries. Those take up a lot of space. I mean, 32 gigabytes a pop.
A lot of people swear by the cloud. I know I've gotten into, heated. For some reason, people get heated about it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with multiple physical backups, especially if you can have different geographic areas. I know that's the tougher part, but let's say you have a relative, a family member, I don't know. Some people have like a workspace.
I mean,
it works.
I've got 273 gigabytes for that, which is hardly anything really. You can put that on I can put that on my Mac hard drive, but I put it on an external drive. It's nothing like, it's very efficient. If you think of like, I've got an ASR10 sampler here, had 16 megabytes of RAM, right? So you could fit a lot. I made a lot of songs on 16 megabytes of RAM.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Samples, right? So that's Spectrasonics comes from that pedigree, right? They came from those early days of cram as much as you can into one sample, and they make
think
it
about
work.
Video game consoles back in the day, right?
Oh,
when you had like just literally like, I don't know, not even a meg, and
not even. I was going to say you could have every video game that was produced before 1995 and use one 10,000th of a terabyte.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Super Mario is like 25 kilobytes, something like that.
I've got a RetroPie in my other room over here that I built, and I have all these ROMs from back when I was shoving quarters into arcade machines back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, the RetroPie. Yeah. I made one.
So I made a RetroPie machine, and I've got all my TI 99.4A games on there. I've got my Commodore 64 games on there. I've got.
Did you have to slow those down? Because I was really into that game Track and Field on the Commodore 64. Like, you have to hit like the 2 keys and they're like running or whatever, and then jump for like the hurdles. But I put it on my RetroPie, and it was like on like speed. It was like, holy smokes!
You can adjust
slow it down. Yeah.
You can adjust that, and then I have the original Track and Field from the arcade.
Oh yeah.
Back when you had to push the physical buttons. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Commodore, man, I still to this day I reminisce sometimes. Like the golf game. Did you ever play golf? That was a pretty cool.
You guys ever play video games where you popped in a cassette, like a tape cassette? Played?
I had TI 99.4A. I played this game called Tunnels of Doom. It was like a D&D game, and the way you loaded up the dungeon was you would put the cassette tape in and play it into the computer, and it would load up that game, and then you could save it out. Yeah, back in the early 80s.
That's
late 70s. Come on, be honest, Philip.
Late 70s. Yeah, I'm really showing my age. My parents took a basic computer course like how to program in BASIC, and they bought a TI 994A, and I learned how to program that thing in like a few weeks, and was making sprites going across the screen, playing music, and then my friend down the street had the modem. We were calling up White Sands Missile Base and trying to do the war games stuff. You know, he had a speech synthesizer on that thing. That was crazy stuff back then.
Right on. Yeah, I remember
Anyway.
my buddy had the Intellivision speech.
Oh yeah,
You know, what was that, Bomb Commander or something like
Missile
that?
Command.
Missile Command, was that it? There was like
Yeah.
a one game where it was like, it's like the big thing. It had the voice speech.
yeah.
But yeah, he had the modem too going. Like at that time, I was like baffled by that stuff. I didn't understand the
Yeah,
idea.
you had to actually
Put a
use the
phone
the
receiver,
phone
right.
receiver on there, and it wasn't the dial-up days where you had a little box that you plugged the phone cable into. It actually had to use
It actually had sound. Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, crazy. Modulate, demodulate.
Anyways, I gotta
Damn,
go. I'll see
damn,
you
we're
guys.
old.
I'll see you guys next time.
Take
Bye,
care,
guys.
Hey, Bobby,
Bobby.
good to see you.
Yeah,
Bye.
good to see you
man.
again. Take care. Well, yeah, we got one last tune here, I think, from
All
Peter.
right, so who? Oh, you ruined it for me, Lenny. I was going to say, who wants to bet?
Oh shoot!
But
Sorry.
no, that's all right. Yeah.
You're looking for some easy
You
money.
have a
bro.
half. You have a half tune.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this one. I mean, you know what? To be honest, I kind of got out of it for a while. Well, it's been a couple of months where I've been very busy with work, a little uninspired. But this is one I've been working at. So I've got vocals from Splice, and I think that's it. Vocals from Splice and a saxophone from Splice, and I like it. I think it's a great track. I think I want to do a little more with it. It doesn't really have a bridge. It has, yeah. Anyways, but I hope you enjoy. Yeah, give it a listen.
Cool.
Yeah, well, keep talking for a minute here. I'm just setting it up here.
I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, I really like this one. I'd like advice on something else, because I have what really is a verse and a chorus. And it's a pretty complete song, I think. I'd like a bridge, but yeah, I guess I just I've been a little bit uninspired over the last few months. I've been pretty busy, and actually, I was in Barcelona a couple weeks ago. That's why I missed the last meetup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was lots of fun, but not conducive to music production. And anyway, so this is what I've been working on. I'm not done. There's some mix aspects I'd like to improve, but I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's good. I think you'll like it. And
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
Mr. Synthwave Pop. You guys do so much avant-garde stuff. I think this will be this is a nice a little sorbet in the middle of a gourmet meal for you guys.
Right on. Right on. That sounds good. I like sorbet. All right, let's give it a listen.
bossing too hard. Now she needs a little fun. Turn it up before she's gone. Driving fast, though she got nowhere to be. Tonight she's running free. Everyone will be who's she? Girl boss, yeah, she's been bossing too hard. Now she needs a little fun. Turn it up before she's gone. Driving fast, though she got nowhere to be. Tonight she's running free. Everyone will be who's she? Driving fast. Girl boss, yeah. She needs a little fun. Driving fast. Tonight she's running free. Who's she? Girl boss, yeah. Got nowhere to be. Driving fast. Girl boss, yeah. Now she needs a little fun. Driving fast. Tonight she's running free.
That had me moving, man. Very good job.
Thank you. Yeah,
You saw my
Yeah.
feedback too. I won't repeat it here, but yeah, I mean, good all around.
yeah. Thank you. I can't get away from pop oriented stuff. I mean, that's most of what I listen to, and yeah. So,
And you
anyways,
said you got the vocals from Splice.
yes.
Yeah. hmm
Good,
And
good
how
use
did you
of it.
did
Yeah.
you search for those, or did you just stumble across them and say, "Hey, I could make something out of this," or were you looking for something that would fit kind of an idea you already had?
No. Well, you know what? I mean, when I first started doing production many years, well, I mean, uh, when I was I used to do trackers when I was 18, and I didn't do anything, and it's actually my 45th birthday today.
Happy birthday,
Oh, happy birthday.
Cheers, thank you.
youngster.
Yeah, I know. Good God,
Cheers.
God help us all. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's light a candle. All right.
I'm out, dude.
Well, don't light 45 because you'll burn your house down. But yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I did some tracking stuff, and then I took a 25-year hiatus. But no, I guess when uh, like I used to just make tracks and then try to find vocals to fit, but and I really like to have vocals in my tracks, and I just found it very difficult to to find vocals. So I do a lot of like I think of I listen to a song and I want to copy it, and
hmm
then I just search for vocals that meet the criteria I'm looking for, and then I start building it in that key and everything else. So that's what I did here. Is I
hmm
find because there's so much trash out there, especially on Splice, the vocals are very hard to come by something that's meaningful
hmm
and interesting. And so no, I think I found these. I found these while looking for a track to emulate a track I had already heard. And I thought, this is good. Once I heard those vocals, then I thought, okay, I'm going to build something in this key. And I had some ideas about what I want to do with the bass and the tempo. But for the most part, the vocals are in very early in the production process for me.
hmm Interesting. Yeah.
Which I'm told is a bad thing to do.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you're doing remixes, I I think I've said this before, but I watched the is it Masterclass? Yeah, by Deadmau5, and the way he approaches like remixes is he'll get like the vocals and the stems and all that stuff. He'll throw away all the stems and he'll just listen to the vocals. And he'll build a track around what he hears in the vocal, and I don't think that's a bad way to go. I mean, that's how I do my remixes anymore. Is I don't even want to hear the original song. I just want the vocal. Give me the vocal, and I'll hear what are the chord changes in there that might go with that, and then just build the song around that. So I think it's a good approach. Yeah.
Great. Thank
Anyway,
you.
And
in my
it's
opinion.
obviously working for you too. I mean, the song is
Yeah.
good, so
Yeah.
why fight it? You know, if it's working for you, it's very upbeat.
Yeah.
I like the pace. Very, you know, you have the vocals about driving fast. So,
hmm
I'm pointing out the obvious, but I'm just saying it's nice, nice touch. You said you wanted a bridge in there. I don't know. It kind of works as it is. I can't
Yeah.
really
I don't
think.
know if it needs a breakdown or a bridge or anything. I mean, you could
I
maybe
don't think
throw
so.
one in there, but it might be forced, right?
For pop music, you've got a lot going on, and I think that's what I enjoy about your music is that it has a lot to keep my interest. Where most pop music just simplifies down to nothing. I'm bored quickly, and also because of all that change you've got going and all those things, that's why I'm not looking for a bridge.
Mhm.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate the like critical feedback because I mean, not that it's been very critical, but yeah, like it feels good to me. And I just worry that, yeah, it's a bit of a cop out because ultimately it's a verse and a chorus. There could be more to it, and a lot of songs have more to it. But to me, it seems pretty complete. And is it, like, am I missing out on something? And I'm hearing maybe not. And so I should just hone down on what I have. I mean, I wouldn't change that much of it. It's just a little more mixing, a little more sound design on a few things. I might do some more filters, maybe a little more distortion here and there, but it's there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think for the most part, that one's a complete track. It's ready to go.
It's perfect. That's all I need to hear. All I need to hear to motivate me to.
Don't do anything else. Move on to the next project.
Good. I like it.
Richard just threw in the Movement Festival. We in Toronto, there's like an exodus, if you want to call it that, to Detroit every year for that festival. So I know people that are diehards techno in Detroit Movement Festival, but that's all the way next year in May. But
but the reason that they came today is that pre-session pricing is available. They've opened up, so if you're interested, and it's not that far for some of you, you get your tickets early, you pay a whole lot less for all of it.
Makes a great weekend.
Yeah, no, it's I've never been there personally. Maybe I'll make the trip. It'll be,
They're spamming me with emails, so I thought I'd spam you guys.
You're like the secondhand spam. Nice.
Yeah.
Leftover.
Sharing is caring.
I mean, I wish I knew you guys. Like, you guys seem to have the finger on the pulse of so many scenes, and I wish I had that in my 20s. Where I couldn't find a great place to find good music, and it's interesting differences. I mean, to be honest, one of the things I'm a big fan of hardstyle music. I like house music as well, but hardstyle, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's almost like it's a massive thing in Europe and in I'm thinking Norwegian countries, but that's obviously not the word. Scandinavian countries, but you can't get anything here in Toronto, and it's or even drum and bass was hard to find in Toronto. And I'm happy to have links like that show me somewhere to go because
well,
God
if you
help
want to
me.
hear techno, it's maybe not hard style, but like I say, in 2 days in Young and Finch, like honestly, these are some serious heavy hitters.
You'll be there, Lenny?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I'll be for both events. Yeah.
I'll have to
Like
try
I
to come.
say, I'm helping out with the setup actually. So,
Kids under 5 are free.
uh,
If you see my children earlier in the stream,
They have free sake
it's
for
it's
kids
free.
under
It's
5.
actually free for all ages. It's a free event. So
awesome.
there's no charge. The one November 2nd, there will be a charge though, to be honest with you. But this first one, there's no charge.
I'm
But yeah,
just teasing.
kids can show up. I mean, I don't know if it'll be past their bedtime, but it's not a totally, outrageous concept. It is a restaurant, so there's not just drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
But the music scene, no, you're right. It's Europe. You know, we always hear about how many venues there are, and there's just not as many here. It's just true. You know what I mean? Even drum and bass. I talk to people in the UK all the time. It's practically mainstream there. Like it's not even considered like underground. Like people are just like listening to normal radio and they'll hear drum and bass. It freaked me out when I was there. I was there in 2010. I'm like, holy shit. There's like drum and bass on every channel. Like I couldn't believe it. Over here it was like people look at you weird.
Yeah, Toronto's suffering after COVID, and with all the constructions basically shut down the downtown core. It's really hasn't come back. In fact, in the last 5 years, it's been.
So that's why when we find a venue like this, we find someone that's willing to support. Like we try to work with the people because we know they got a business to run at the end of the day. So we're trying to make it a win-win situation where they can get some extra alcohol sales and food and whatever, and at the same time have some quality music. You know what I mean? Like I'm an idealist. I think you can actually make quality and I just feel like I don't know why there's a temptation so often that people just they go for the quantity. You know what I mean?
It's so fluffy. The fluffy shit like that everybody likes. That the music fan. That's not a real fan, right? Like they just want to hear what they hear on the radio. They want to hear what their friends hear. They want to say, "I like this," but they don't even care about the music. And you don't.
Taylor Swift is going to save us all.
Exactly.
Who's the mayor of Toronto now?
Olivia Chow.
Oh, okay. So she's still the mayor. Okay.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
I know. I think she was there after I moved to Ottawa, and then I think she got elected.
Federal.
Yeah.
Yeah. She started.
I've reached out to her office. In all sincerity, I've reached out to her office, and I'm like, Olivia, show me the money. And she said some guy called me, and he's like, what you should do? You should sign up for this grant. Be great for your. So the Toronto Arts Council, I think, was what they and this is a true story. I wish I would have recorded it because the woman they put me through to, he's like, make sure you talk to her first. I called her, and keep in mind this is a grant for nonprofits, okay, specifically for nonprofit. I wish I recorded it. The actual quote from her is that in her tenure as the lead person or whatever, in 10 years that she's been involved, they have never awarded a grant to a community organization. She literally, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're a nonprofit grant and you have never funded a community organization.
But nonprofit is a code word. A nonprofit is a code word for savvy financial individuals. So.
Yeah, I came to the conclusion. No, seriously, you're totally right on. I came to the conclusion, nonprofit, basically, you need the same skill set that you need for profit. You need to be able to pitch, right? You need to be able to pitch your idea, and you have to charge money. That's basically what they said. If you're doing something for free, it's considered not professional. It's not professional. No. That was their definition of professional. And I was like, wait a minute. Like here I am thinking that, community organization, we're helping people. It's like that's a negative. From their perspective, that's just you're proving that you're not worthy. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's interesting. I hope I meet this person. And I'm just going to try to constantly repeat this to as many people as possible because I think it's and she's complaining like, oh, we don't get enough funding money. Lady, Like what kind of an attitude? Now I know people who have gotten funds from Toronto Arts Council, so I'm not saying it's an impossibility at all, right?
Well,
But that
the
was
city
that
has
was
funds
that was
too.
knowledge to me.
The city has funds as well, Lenny. They're like art council is one thing, but there are
They have a
many
committee.
grants that are available from the city.
Yeah, but you know, I listen. They have a maybe monthly committee. We even had the guy participate in our meetup. I don't know if you were there at the time, Jeff. His name. I have his email though.
I remember that.
Right, the Toronto Music Office. He was gonna like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're gonna help you.
He was
Never
like
got back
really
to us.
into it.
Never got back to us. Never, not a word. And I'm not saying there isn't money. There definitely is. I actually volunteered to be on the committee to go there and give advice on what to do because trust me, I got all kinds of advice. A lot of it will be like certain people going to the Danforth Bridge and jumping off of it. But but they got the net there, so that kind of sucks. For the particular, no, I'm just saying, like, there's, I don't know, whatever. There is definitely, it's not even a lack of will. I'm not even saying these people are necessarily bad. I'm pretty sure Olivia Chow would be happy. You know what I mean? It's just the system itself. You know what I mean? I don't want to speak for her, but I just feel like the system is just obviously not optimal, and they have different priorities. You know what I mean? Obviously, like they're dealing, with homelessness and all this other stuff. But
they're
arts,
also contracting. Like everybody is moving back. They don't have the money, and what they're doing is not working. And they don't have money, so they're pulling back on everything or letting it die. There's no great new ideas, and there's no great amounts of money, and the money that you have doesn't go as far as it used to go. Like I have this argument with people with mental health for ages, and the fact that if you want to help one person, you got to fund what? Doctors, administrators, just a brand new building that was made that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. How much money do you have to spend? They've got staff who are on committees, but those people will not fast track somebody into the system to get care. So lots of advertising all over the radio and so on. But how many million do you have to spend to get somebody in some help?
Well, all I know is this meetup group, I have a budget of $500 a year. And I'm able to hold 12.
Wait a second. Didn't you get my money?
That's where it goes to. Yeah.
Once you put in a couple mil.
So I hear you. I mean, I know the real world things are.
I put in 100,000 yen.
I saw Lenny eating a sandwich earlier today. He burnt your whole budget up for the year. He was eating a sandwich.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I hear this excuse all the time. I'm able to pull off live events, monthly meetups. I don't know. I mean, I think personally we've done more for the city of Toronto in terms of like electronic music producers than the CBC has, in my opinion. And they have a $1.5 billion budget. They have 2 shows, by the way. I looked it up on Copilot. They have 2 shows for electronic music on CBC radio. So in the past I was saying 0. I stand corrected. 2. Yeah, I'm impressed. And where are they? You know what I mean? No offense. Yeah. They should be coming to this freaking meetup.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you. I mean,
I'm biased, obviously.
You can hear Drake on any channel you need, or Christ, I'm still hearing Alanis Morissette tracks from late '90s.
Yeah, and then there's that band.
Played.
Then there's that band Rush,
Yeah. It can be pretty depressing.
Even one of their members is dead and is still getting airtime.
Yeah, they're good.
I love Rush personally, but
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm being
but I mean,
sarcastic.
like really, I mean, Rush is probably not cutting edge new music. Like I get it.
You think?
Yeah, well, exactly. But I work in construction. I was on a job site today that was a house for abused women, which I'm sure there are plenty of. and it was a place where they could live. There was 50 units, and they are desperate to find people to occupy them. There's nobody. They can't even fill 50 units. And like,
Right.
I mean, give me a break. Like I was saying, like
Mhm.
my wife has a great chin. We could save some money if she could take a bruise and get
Oh
a
God.
live in this place. But I mean, like it's these one bedroom condos. Like I don't want to downplay that, but it's there's so I don't know. I mean, can you imagine? You've got
I think some
50
people are
units.
embarrassed. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
you get
embarrassed to go there.
well,
Yeah.
of
Anyway.
course, I get it,
Uh-huh.
and it's a social stigma, but there's just so much money going in so many places, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that it's benefiting people directly. So
Well,
Well,
anyway,
here in the States, they do projects like that, and it's trying to pump up the politician, But
a lot
well,
of it
yeah, that's
is the
exactly right.
politics, but there are logistical issues. Like in order to get people into a stable housing, working through the shelters, get to know, say, 50 people, and people got to get comfortable with them. And it was better to place 4 people
Mhm.
into a place, because if somebody went off and had a problem paying, you didn't lose the place. You could find a new person to move in. So they
Mhm.
have to have these long-term strategies to ramp up to get like long-term chronic addicts or mental health
Mhm.
people who've been on the street. It's a really long term effort, and the funding never goes for more than a couple of years. So as soon as you get something that's successful, it
Mhm.
gets undermined
The
because
bottom drops out. Mhm.
and it doesn't get the political
Yeah,
flag waving that you need from a new project. So
yeah,
Mhm.
it's I spent years and years working in communities and trying to provide supports and try to get people's creativity going, and there's tons of successes, and and but it doesn't make that big change, right?
yeah. It's not a headline,
No.
and so nobody cares. But I mean, like all this thing, you got to imagine 75 to 90% of homeless people are just people that are in need of psychological care and support. They
Mhm.
need somebody it's not a homeless. It's not a bunch of people who are lazy. It's people
Mm-mm.
who need who are mentally unfit, who need support, who could be helped. And instead, the money goes to the police, and the police. I mean, I was going to say the police beat them, but I don't think they have the time for that. I mean, they can't even stop the guy from, running red lights constantly. I don't think
It's
they're even beating
substance
the
abuse,
homeless
really.
anymore.
I think substance abuse is like the number one reason people who are homeless. And I was actually in a course one time that was like, I don't know, it's a long story, but there was people who were like recovering addicts and stuff in there. And one of the guys like stole the computer from the classroom one day.
Yep, that's what happens.
That's
But
not a
anyway,
Absolutely.
good look.
but
Yep.
this, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, what was I gonna say? They don't want to go. You can't be drunk or high
Yeah.
and go to a shelter,
You
right?
can't you
So,
can't force a
you know what I
horse
mean?
to
Oh,
So
there
that
you
are
can lead the horse to
certain
water, but you can't
shelters
make him
that will
drink.
accept
Yeah.
people who are
maybe
high
some,
and
okay,
drunk.
okay. But what I'm
Yep.
trying to say is a lot of them are like, I'd rather just be on my own because I can do what I want, right? So they'd
Yep.
rather be on the streets. Remember they had like that tent city? There's several now, but there was
Hmm.
one that it was on a Home Depot owned land near the lake shore or whatever. And it was there, like people were like just building like
Yeah,
elaborate,
pallet houses.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
like I mean, it would withstand a hurricane
and those
made out
people were
of
like happy
pallets.
there. They're like, you know what? We have our freedom. We got our own kind of hierarchy.
Uh,
And
yeah,
at the end of the day, I think it got worse over COVID too, but big time. I mean, no one can deny this. Like you just started to see, tents popping up all over, and they've cleaned it up a lot though. I was just downtown the other day, and it looks like some of the parks that I used to see people in now have been cleaned up. But It's
But yeah,
it's a
I think
complicated, well,
I
not
think these people
complicated,
need
it's a
support.
sensitive issue, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all about rights, you know, like at a certain point, do you just say, listen, we're gonna put you here and you don't have a choice? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
No, I'm not saying it's not a choice, but I would say these people need options, they need choices, and they need support. And they for the last 30 years, money has been pulled out of therapy, pulled out of mental health support, and we don't. They're not mentally ill. They're not people who need support. They need to be arrested. They're criminals. Well, they're not criminals. They just they need help. They need help, and that help is not there. And so you've got you've got they get to live in a park, and then the police step in when it goes too far. But when the police step in, they don't take them and bring them to a place that will help them. They take them to jail or they kick them out. And you need support for people with mental health. And so, anyways, that's my petition. I need help now. But
no, I mean, I thought like Cam H, isn't that like the big
Yeah.
place in downtown Toronto? And I
yeah,
know we've had a member that was joining this group from Cam H, as a matter of fact. We've literally had people in Cam H joining TEMP, you know, and we're perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? I'm happy to give assistance if music can help. Hey, by all means. But
I've got a mentor, actually, a fellow. I played a song a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, excuse me, where, anyways, his whole job is to create a music program for people in KMH. And
Oh, wow.
it's he says they come up with all kinds of stuff, and I've asked him a few times. I said, "Well, give me some of the vocals they have," and blah blah blah. And he says, "No, we can't. We can't let those out, because they're confidential or whatever." And I'm sure they're, as bad as Eminem stuff. um, but I mean, he's a musician, and he spends all his days sitting down with people in CAMH making music, and they have raps and they have whatever else, and that's what he does. But they don't let it outside of the facility. There's a certain amount of privacy. But again, those are people who are in those facilities. But I would say, like, it's really like 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 who need that are there, and the rest of them aren't getting anything like that. And but yeah, actually, he's a great guy. He plays guitar. I want to release one of the songs he did. Uh, I found a vocal that I really loved. Going back to music, getting off of political stuff, I found a vocal that I really liked, and it was labeled as A minor, and I played it, and it just every once in a while it would just sound like shit. I made chords and everything else, and I gave it to him, and he says, "No, no, this thing goes every 2 bars. It's A major, and then it switches to A minor every 2 bars." And so once I figured that out, I was able to make a song around it. Um, uh, and it was fantastic. And he's an amazing musician, and his entire job is supporting these people and giving them an outlet. But when I say, can you release the songs? Can you give something to me? Can you do a stem? Can you? And no, nothing, nothing, nothing. And it just sits there dead. So they're all making great music together. And he's producing it for them, and because it's under the CAMH or because it's under there's confidentiality rules, it just dies.
Sure.
So yeah,
About healing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
well,
I mean,
yeah, music really is a like if you think about what could help youth that could otherwise be in gangs or getting involved in substance abuse, there's all kinds of things. Music is the one thing that I think, could be a saving
Yeah.
hobby or whatever.
Entrepreneurs and music arts are
I
a
don't
big draw.
understand how. Yeah, take care, Phil. I don't understand how, like, that's my sales pitch to these people. I'm
thanks,
like, look,
Phil.
here I am providing a forum. So not just us, just, other people can do the same thing and do, but I would think it's a no-brainer. Like, hey, let's help the community, help people that can have like a positive, interaction or whatever, right? Instead of, I mean, I guess there's sports as well, but I just feel like music is
Sports works
great,
well. Yeah.
a great avenue.
Yeah.
And there's so many resources that are wasted, right? You have all these meeting rooms, venues, parkland. You got to get insurance and red tape and this and that. next thing you know, you got to hire an accountant to fill out an application. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm looking at an income tax reform. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
no.
I'm an artist. You know what I mean? Like, give me. I'm about ideas and speech. You're like, oh, here,
Generally, the
Phil,
person
ticked off this form.
generally the person who benefits the most from these projects is the person who is hired to run the project. That's the great benefit, goes to that person rather than the people they're serving. Poverty, crime, all those things are perpetuated in many ways because they do so much for the people who are hired. That's the industry, and it does great things for the for the clients, but it does more for the person who gets the job and gets the money, and there's just not enough of it to go around, right? So, and a lot of people who are clients are chronically distrustful of the politician, the businessman, and the person who is in this, including their buddy. And if their buddy gets hired into that job to help them, they may not be their buddy anymore.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and they
You're totally
start
right.
drinking and they start drinking the Kool-Aid. That's another thing, right? Let's be honest here. These guys that get these positions, they start drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're in their little bubble, and they believe all this stuff. The next thing you know, you get this email from the music office, and it's like, what are these people smoking? I mean, I thought Rob Ford died, but the crack cocaine is still alive and well at City Hall, man, in my opinion, judging by what these people are up to, because maybe worse than crack. Like, I don't know.
Well, this is, so, this guy goes to work every day, 40 hours a week. And these guys are, they're all rappers, which, it's not necessarily my wheelhouse, but I'm saying like, hey, could you send me some stems? Could you send me some vocals? I'd like to do something. I'll release a song. I'll give them credit. I've made $3.04 through TuneCore over the last 6 months. So we can all share in the riches.
Wow,
right?
man, you're basking in the,
Yeah.
some big time money there, man.
Yeah, but
Spread
it's
the
just
wealth.
like I'll get you out. Like we'll work together. We'll do something that we can
Has to be
all
a
be
legal
proud
reason,
of.
though, right? Like they're probably like worried for
Well,
legal
'cause
reasons. Do you think, Peter? I
it
mean,
is, but
I don't think they're being
of course.
malicious. I'm not trying to make
No.
excuses for them, but I'm just trying to understand. Like, I can't see like if they're trying to promote it internally, maybe there's like some
No, but they're not
privacy.
trying to promote it internally, and it's not about that. Like it's just like you're right. It's legal reasons. These are sick people. I don't think their lyrics are PG. I think they're and so it's all about like, but like who gives a shit? Like just put it out there. Let them try. Like so you say, okay, we'll produce music, but guess what? I want you in here. Okay, so like the rest of the world's out here, but you have to stay inside this thing, inside this tiny bubble with your music. And I, like I have no expectation that anybody's going to make any money doing this, but the hope, the idea that you're out there in the free market, that you're participating in society, I think that has so much value. And the idea that, oh no, sorry, you're locked up in an institution, so this stuff can never go out. People who want to collaborate with you, no, we can't. Like it's just we're going to ostracize you. I just think it's the wrong thing. But again, it all comes down to liability, and it comes down to somebody has to say, I'm willing to do this, but there's no benefit. Everyone's making six figures, and they're worried about getting sued. And so, too bad. Little Johnny's rap is going to stay in an echo chamber in his little jail in CAMH. And he's not. I don't expect him to be a superstar, but I just give him the hope that he's there in the free market with everybody else, because I think that's more valuable than making all the money. He's not going to be Drake or whoever. Not that anyone wants to be that guy, but
Yeah, he'll get
give him the
invited.
hope.
get invited to a P Diddy party, you know, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's like that's you know, this is the saving grace of not being famous, guys, and that you didn't have to get like drugged and raped by P Diddy. Like, look on the bright side, you know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
could be worse.
Uh,
It could be like Justin Bieber, you know, like Mr. Famous guy, and God knows what's happened to that guy, man.
yeah.
No wonder he looks weird.
No, I mean,
But it's not even. I feel bad. We're joking about it, but it's actually bad, man. I mean, it's literally a thing, you know. Like, you
absolutely.
think we're just seeing that. By the way, I don't even think P Diddy. He must have pissed off the wrong person, in my opinion, and they threw him under the bus because there's tons of people like him. I'm sure of it.
Tons.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's just
tons.
one of many, right?
Yeah.
And I just think he pissed off the wrong people, and they're like, "All right, buddy,
Yeah.
you got to pay the price now." But I'm just saying that is the price. Like, let's just remember how lucky we are to actually be able to just make music because we like it. That's something to be happy about, man. It's never something to feel bad about. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
you should literally feel sorry for these people who literally lost their souls, probably lost, you know, other things like
I'm totally with you.
virginity of their, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, they lost a lot, man. And,
say no more, Lenny. Say no more.
Yeah.
But,
so I'm happy to be an obscure artist, man. I'm more than happy.
I was fortunate enough that I got to spend a good part of my life being in helping and creating a lot of programs like this and working with different groups and watch so many people be successful and watch so many of the ventures go down within 2 to 3 years. It just like it's just constantly every 6 months you have to be modifying, changing, anticipating what's coming next. Like you said, Lenny, it's definitely about business. You got to really be out there. And because you got to be able to do the books, you got to be able to market, you got to be able to be a social worker, you got to be able to get a whole batch of people who only want to help themselves.
Are you talking about nonprofit organizations?
Nonprofit
business,
that's
what I mean.
All these kinds of things.
That's what I mean. Like, if you just are an actual talented artist, good freaking luck. Good luck.
Absolutely.
You'll be eaten alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the skill set that is needed. You want to be.
One of the things we got going was instead of like I used to go in and I'd say, oh, we've got this and this, and people going, well, you want to give me oranges, but we need bananas and grapefruits. What do you want to give me? Well, the government says we got oranges. Well, we don't need oranges. We need grapefruits. Oh, okay. But what we don't do is, for example, say, okay, we have funds that are here for a community. Let's set up a committee of community members, and you can decide who's in your community is going to get this money. We'll give out small loans. That was really successful because now people come in, they pitch to their community members, they get ideas, and they can walk out with small loans. And it really invigorated the community. But that's not how the mass part of government and various projects work. They work usually about 5 to 10 years behind the need.
Well, I do. I work in capital construction, so large, streets, water mains, sewers, and you'd be amazed when you really look at it. You get a large company gets a large plot of land, and very quickly a highway is built towards that land. Is that land valuable? Is it useful? Is it a good place? No. Do we need a road to go there? No. But the people that are in power, or the person who are hooked up, I don't want to name companies, but I could. They bought it. They're going to build houses, and there's going to damn well be a highway to that. And so it's there. There's the fucking highway. And you look around, you go, there's nothing here. There's nothing in value here, but there will be. It'll grow. Is it ideal? Is it what you want? Is it what the community needs? No. But I mean, like Vaughan Mills is a great example. I mean, who the fuck needs them all up? You know, if you know Toronto, 30 kilometers north of Toronto, the one of the biggest malls in Ontario. Nobody needs that. But guess what? One of the companies bought it. Condrain. Sorry, omit that out. They, they bought the land. They built the mall. So guess what? Up comes a highway, 6 lanes in every direction. Do we need that highway? No. Does it help anybody get anywhere? No. But you can get to Vaughan Mills there. Absolutely. It's a fascinating thing, and it comes down to there's very few companies and very few people that they have absolute power. We deal with there are certain specifications that you have to do for water mains, for sewers, for everything else, and you deal with some companies, and it's like that's not an issue. We don't have to do that. We're not doing it here. We don't have to do that. And it's big money. They're bought and paid for, and I guess everybody's happy. Like the 407 got sold. It's
crazy.
I mean, that thing's just such a cash cow. I don't. Anyways, all right.
Oh, that was totally. I remember when that deal happened, and I was like, "This is ridiculous." And the Sky Dome, look at the Sky Dome or Rogers Center now, right? They sold that for, I don't know, less than 5% of what it cost to build that place, I think. And it was built with taxpayer money. That's the point, right? And it's valued now, I believe, at like, I don't know, 100 million, the 407. And it was sold for like
100 billion.
Billion, sorry, 100 billion. Yeah, and it was sold for like 1, I think, or 2, something like that.
I mean, I think I gave them 100 billion last year. I've got a small company. I've got 8 guys driving around, and we've got a what is it, like a $5,000 bill every month, and that's only when we use.
I'm not saying you should do this, but someone once told me that if you had a license plate registered in Illinois, you could drive up and down the 407 all day long, and the people in Illinois could care less about the bills that are sent there. Michigan is different. Michigan will do like reciprocity, or however you pronounce that, I believe, between Ontario and Michigan. But Illinois, I have it on good authority. Don't give a shit.
No, most places, even like provinces. I've got a warrant from
Quebec. I don't know. I think if let's say you're from Quebec and you drive on the 407, I think they still send it over. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, talking about legal things, not to get too deep into things, but like 25 years ago, there's a warrant for my arrest in New Brunswick, and it's still active. Nobody gives a shit.
Dude, do you really want to be admitting this? Okay, whatever.
Yeah. No. What happened was I was actually staying at the
jaywalking.
A police superintendent's house.
Charged for that.
No, yeah, I was dating the police superintendent's daughter, and I walked out. He was a single man in his mid-50s at the time, and I walked out with a beer in my hand from his house emptied out into a bar patio, and then the car was like 2 parking spots away, and I walked with my open beer, opened it up, and I took out like my keys from the car, and on my way back, the RTMPs stopped me and said, you've got to pay a fine. You've got an open liquor bottle. And I said, oh, bullshit. And I asked her to take care of it. She said she would. And then we broke up. And anyways, I got letters. But if I'm not in New Brunswick, like, nobody cares. Nobody's going to do that. It's like, what people don't realize is like, they're not all talking to each other. That you think they are, but they're not. And they also don't have power. I had an open liquor container for 10 feet as I walked to the car, and I took out somebody's like luggage from their car. So there's a warrant for my arrest. But there's the same thing with like tickets. Like if you get a ticket down in the States, like, well, who the fuck are they going to talk to about your Ontario license? They're not going to call you. They're not going to call Ontario driver's license and say, "Oh, he's a very bad boy."
Now, can they turn it over to a private collecting company?
Yeah, and you could just go,
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing, this is more along the lines
anytime you get into
of
collections, you can just tell them to piss up a tree.
Let's
because
say
I have no
oh,
business
sorry.
with you. I don't even know who you are. If you ever go to collections at any time, you just go, I don't know who you are. Piss off. Their whole thing, they have no legal ramifications. Like they cannot come after you. You just say, I don't know who you are. I don't have any contract with you. I don't know who you're talking about. Like, how do I owe you money? I've never done anything. But they work on intimidation. It's one of the things, like,
Right.
collection agencies are all about fear and intimidation. If you just say, like, no, they have nothing.
The worst thing they can do, because I work in call center technology, and I've actually had to sit right beside a collections group one time. It was many years ago, and the best collection guy. I heard him over and over again. He's like, "Would you like an R9 on your credit report?
Yeah.
Are you planning to get a loan anytime soon? You're planning to renew a mortgage? Good luck with that. With an R9, you're not going to get it. And if anyone is looking to get a loan or a mortgage, that will scare them. So if you don't pay a credit card bill or a cell phone bill, that's what they'll hit you with. But I was going to say, if you
you can just tell
really,
them
really
no.
destroy your credit in Canada, and I don't think you should, but let's say you did, you just go to the US, south of the border, clean slate. They don't have you could be the greatest credit risk in the entirety of the Great White North, and they will not care. It's like you're a brand new person. Just to throw it out there.
Yeah, no, but any honest, like really pro tip, if you ever get a call from a collection agency, and because I've done this, I went all through high school and before that, and I had a friend of mine who just gave me years and years of legal training, but they are a third party. You have nothing to do with them. You don't know anything about it. You just go, I don't know, and they actually have no power. It's all about scaring you, and they have no power. So you say, no,
I
piss off.
actually had
Fishing.
Rogers coming after me. This is a true story. I don't know if my lawyer would even say it's a great idea, but it's been settled. They were trying to come after me for money I didn't even owe them. You know what I mean? And I was like, what the hell is this? And I thought it was a scam. I thought it was literally like a fraud. No, it was actually Rogers. I'm like, these guys are the fraud. And I finally had to get a lawyer involved, and it got thrown out or whatever. I was like, can you imagine? Like, this is like I showed you the statistics at the beginning of this show, right? Like Rogers is like number 2 or 3, depending on how you look at it.
How much did you have to pay the lawyer, Lenny?
I have a lot of lawyers in my employment, if you will. Like I got an entire team of lawyers, like their teeth gnashing, foaming at the mouth, ready to attack. I come from. Luckily, I'm connected that way. So yeah, and I didn't have to pay anything. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, I got many lawyers. I just want to make this extremely.
I gotta get going in a sec, but I saw what you put in the chat there, Lenny, about Toronto Arts Council.
Yeah, that's true.
The thing about stuff like that is it becomes a full-time job just applying for money.
No,
so
I know.
That would be my only.
But in 10 years, this is the woman that told me, without being embarrassed, that they have never funded a community organization. Those were your words, Christy. Your words, not mine.
Interesting.
And if you feel comfortable saying that in public, good for you. I'm going to repeat it over and over again to as many people as will listen, frankly.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's unbelievable. That's the non-profit grant. Okay?
Yeah, but what they're going to fund is the non-profit branch of Loblaws.
And I mean, look,
willing to
I know people
play guitar at the grocery store.
I know people personally that I work with that have been funded, so it's not like no one's funded, right? But I'm like, lady, you're gonna say that to me? Dude, I'm gonna shine a light on you, basically, and probably nothing will happen. But I'm telling you, like, the more people and the longer I live, I will, there's a list that's getting longer and longer, and your name's on it, Christy.